Hmm. Yeah. Can you hear me now? Okay. So let's get started. So today we are going to cover how we can create lifecycle policy and how can we create a replication rule in S3. So what is lifecycle policy in general? So look, let's go to a bucket and go to your management. Here you can see lifecycle policy. Now what is your lifecycle policy? Anybody knows what is lifecycle? So every object or everything has some lifecycle. We have seen right now we can upload multiple objects. Each object might have different property, and it is quite difficult to manage individual object, or it is quite difficult to manage what type of storage class we want to store the data, when to delete the data, do you want to change the storage class, and so on. That's where lifecycle come in the picture. So what it does basically does, it basically help you to move the object in different tiers and delete the object after a certain period of time, and it will do that thing automatically. That's a life cycle. So use life cycle rule to define action you want to perform on S3 to take during an object lifecycle, such as transition object to another storage classes, archive them, or delete them after a certain period of time. So let's say you have how many classes are there? How many storage classes are there with us? We have nearly 4 to 5 storage classes. If you have object, if you have thousands or millions of object in your bucket, and over the period of time you want to move them from standard to any other storage classes. Let's say you have 1,000 files, and your company says after 30 days move that file to infrequent access, and after next 30 days move to deep glacier, and after next 30 days move it to deep glacier. So in 90 days your data will be moved to deep glacier. Agree? Why? Because it become old data. The data will become old. So how can you do that? So you will search. If there is no method, what you will do? You will search the data. You will search the data on the basis of time, on which date this particular object was uploaded. You will search every day every object, that today did this object got has been 30 days for this given object, or any object has crossed 60 days or 90 days. Do you do we Are you going to go in the console and check for every object? If there are millions of objects, can you do that? If it's a couple of objects, you can manage, but if it's a millions of object and you want to move the its storage classes automatically, can you do that? So answer is no, right? So for that, life cycles come in the picture. So if you click here, you can give the any rule name, rule underscore one. Okay. Do you want to apply these things to complete bucket, or do you want to apply this to a particular folder? So if you want to apply this, let's say only to folder one, this rule, okay, the first folder, that's it. So you can apply that, or you can apply to complete bucket. Now you can see there are a couple of options available. Move the current version of object between the storage class. Move non-current version of an object between the storage class. Now what is mean by non-current version? We have talked about versioning yesterday, right? Remember, we talked about versioning. Okay, this is of my bucket. Yesterday we created, and we have uploaded multiple objects here, right? Let me create. Let me show you a couple of. Let me upload the file once again for you 3 times. So you have multiple files in your S3 bucket, right? Now if you click here, now you will see there is a version of file 3. There are 3 versions of file 3, right? Let me upload one more time. Okay. Now if you see, file number 1 has one version, single version. File number 2 has 2 versions. One was previous version. File number 3 has 3 versions, and all are in standard right now. Even the versions has the previous versions are stored in standard class. Okay. So if your bucket has versioning, and if you want to manage the previous version, what class do you want to store the previous version of the file? This is the current version. It has 3 versions. All 3 are stored in standard. Now the basically most of the time you are going to work on the current version or a version before the current version, max to max this one. But what if you have hundreds of versions of this file? This single file has hundreds of versions. Every day a version is created of this file. So in that scenario, what do you want to do? Let's keep only 7 copy of the file and delete the any version older than 7 days. Doesn't make sense? If there are more than 7 version, or delete the version which is older than 7 days. That is called non-current version. So you can configure non-current version as well, and you can set what you want to do with the non-current versions. Expire. Do you want to delete that object? Okay. Do you want to? Uh, I will show you how what does it mean expire. Permanent delete. Expire means do you want to delete that file? Okay. Expire means you want to delete that file. Permanently delete non-current versions. Delete expire file, delete marker or incomplete upload. So these are the multiple options available. Let's click on first. Move the current version of object between the tires. So now if you see, a chart is created in the left side, current version. Now what do you want to do with the current version? Do you want it to move from standard to infrequent access after 30 days, let's say? So you can see on the 0th day the file is uploaded, and after 30 days the file will move to infrequent access. Why? To save the money in general, right? You want to save your money, your company's money. That's why we have different tires available. And over the period of time, you are not going to use the file. So it's better to move to them in a lower tire, lower version tires, so that you can save the money. Agree? So I'm moving the data.
90 and deep glacier 120 or 180. So now you can see, if I upload a file today, after 30 days it will automatically move to infrequent, irrespective I'm using the file or not. Irrespective I'm using the file or not, it will automatically move. So it will check the date of the file, it will check the date of the object, and after 30 days it will move that object into infrequent access, standard infrequent access. Now the object which is older than 60 days, its tire will change to one zone. Object which is older than 90 days, its uh, storage class will move to glacier, and after 180 days it will move to deep glacier. It's up to you how do you want to configure this thing, right? Now this is for current version. Now if I click on this, expire the current version, that means now you can see a new tab is open. Expire current version. For version enabled bucket, S3 add and delete marker, and current version of the object is retained as non-current version. It basically means after how many days do you want to delete the file? Let's say 365 days. After 1 year, I want to delete that file. So what will happen? A delete marker will be added on the file. It is not going to be permanent delete. It will be a delete marker will be added. And after how many days do you want to permanent delete that file? Let's say delete the 500 days. Okay, this is okay. We'll talk about this in some time. So you can see, move the current version into different tires. You can do that, and at what time do you want to delete the object, and move it to and add a delete marker. Second is non-current version. You can see in the right side we have non-current version. So we have talked about the current version, what to do with the current version. Now what you want to do with non-current versions, right? So you can click on that, and you will see settings are open. So after let's say 15 days, okay, it is saying minimum 30. Let me increase everything by 90 to 120. Previously I'm increasing everything to double. Okay, now after 90 days it will move to standard. After 120 days it will move to one zone, glacier after 180 days, and 360 days out into deep glacier. Okay, and after 500 days it will be deleted. A delete marker will be added to this. Now coming to non-current version, means this versions, previous version. So what do you want to do with the non-current version? So after 30 days, move them to infrequent access, or let's say directly move to one zone. That's it. So after 30 days, I want all the files to be moved to one zone, because that's the previous version. And how many copies do you want to retain? Can up to 100 files. Means let's say I want only maximum 5 copies. So let's say there are hundreds copies are there. So after 30 days, top 5 will be moved to deep glacier, move to one zone, and other will be deleted. Okay, old will be deleted. That's it. It is saying. Now, do you want to delete that files? How after which time do you want to delete the old files? That is, it is here. Permanently delete non-current version. If you click here, a tab will open. Let's say 180 days. After 180 days, delete the non-current version and delete only retain. It will is basically retain. So save 5 file. Otherwise, delete all the files which are older than 180. So you can see now here. 5 newest non-current one are retained and all other are deleted. So this is how you can configure, and Amazon will automatically do these things for you. They will move the data between the tiers, they will delete the object for you. And why we are doing this? To save our money. That's it. And just create the rule. There is no charge. There is very, I think, a minimal charge for lifecycle rule. And you can create multiple rule. So you can edit it that this rule will be applied on only folder 1. That's it. You can apply different rule on different folders. Okay, rule number 1 apply on folder number 1. Does it make sense to you? What is lifecycle? So lifecycle rule is basically do it's type of automation where you can change the tire of your object on the basis of how much all the data is stored in your data in your S3 bucket. Even you can delete the current version as well as previous version. You can configure what is the life cycle of previous version of your object. Any questions? So now the rules will be evaluated. So after 90 days and after 30 days, the first action will be taken, and all the files in my bucket will be moved to infrequent access as per the rule. But it has to be more than 30 days. Got it? Yes or no? Any question on this? समझ आया? Okay. Right. Management, here is the life cycle rule. So great. Okay. Now this is for life cycle. So this will apply for either full bucket or filtered partial or limited number of folders. Now next part is replication. So remember a cross-region replication. Remember we talk about cross-region replication. We can replicate one data from another one. We can replicate the data in from one bucket to another bucket. Amazon will automatically move your data from one region to another region or one bucket to another bucket. You don't have to copy the data manually, right? This is called replication. So here you can create a replication rule. Now if you want to set up this rule, simple, it's very again simple. Use a replication rule to define option you want SC to apply during a replication, such as server-side encryption, replication on a transition replication, or the storage things. So it is used to replicate the data from one bucket to another bucket. So click on the create a replication rule. Now here you can see that it is giving some error. The replication rule apply on the versioning bucket only. So both the bucket, the source as well as destination bucket should be versioned. So what is replication? If you want to move the data, if I upload the data in this bucket, it will automatically create a copy in or backup copy in different bucket. Amazon will do this process for us in free, not in free, but it will perform this operation. Now the prerequisite is both the bucket should have versioning enabled. Both the bucket should have versioning enabled. That's the prerequisite. Okay. So the current bucket, if I go here, I will show you the versioning is disabled. So enable the versioning, otherwise you will not able to create the replication rule. So I have enabled the versioning. Let's go to management, click on the rule, give the name rule underscore one, right? Now status, I want to enable this rule. Again, do you want to apply this rule for complete bucket, or do you want to apply this rule on a specific folder underscore 2? So this rule will work only for data which is uploaded on rule folder number 2, or do you want to apply it to complete bucket? So any object uploaded to the S3 bucket will be copied to the target bucket. So you can define that. Now what is your target bucket? So your bucket can be in your current account, or it can be in different account as well. So browse, and I'm selecting this bucket as my target. Now here you will see create a role. Now why we have to create a role? So this bucket is going to write the data in another bucket. As I said, no resource has access to other resource by default. You have to give permission. This bucket needs to access this bucket and write the data in that. That's why I had to give them a policy, or I have to give them access. So go to IAM, click on roles. Okay, let me delete previous roles if possible. No. Okay, go click on create rule. Who is going to use this role? S3. So search here S3. Okay, S3 is going to use this role. So you have to define who is going to use this role. Next, what type of permission do you want to give? S3 full access. So search that S3 full access. And next, give a name, replication role for S3. So we are providing the full access to my bucket, so it can access the other bucket. So I have created a role, replication role for S3. So if I refresh it once and search it, you will find. So if you are not providing the role, then the application won't work, because this bucket doesn't have access or permission to perform any operation on this bucket. So you have to create a role basically. So how can you create a role? Click on the roles, go to IAM, create a role. Who is going to use this role? S3. So search here S3. Click on S3. Next, just select the policy you want to attach and click on next. That's it. The role is created. Give the name and create a role. Now, simple. Now our application rule is ready. You can just create the rule, or there are a couple of more options available. But moreover, basically this is the primary thing. Give the rule number, rule name. Do you want to limit source information on which folder, or do you want to completely replicate the data? Target bucket and role permission. That's it. These are the four things you require. Now, while copying the data, do you want to replicate it or not? While copying the data, do you want to encrypt the data or not? So you can enable the encryption. So the target data will be encrypted. If you want, you can enable that thing. That's the encryption. If you want to change the storage class of the target bucket, so let's say right now you are storing the data in S3 standard, but the target you want to store in infrequent access. So you can select the target bucket. The data should be stored in infrequent access, right? And there are the other things as well. Just so I'm just creating the role, save. So Amazon is asking, do you want to apply this rule for existing objects? So I will say no. So this rule will be implemented for the objects which are created after this rule is been deployed. So now the rule will be up, and now after here any file upload will be copied to the target bucket. The files which are already existing in my bucket will not, no action will taken on this. But if you want to take any action, that existing file all should be copied. So click here. By default, the new files or the new object will be copied to the target bucket, not the previous objects. Submit. Okay. So click here. Let me upload a file here. CSV file, and just upload. So in the source bucket, I have uploaded one file. Now it will take 2 to 5 minutes to copy the data to the target bucket. But Amazon will do the replication for you automatically. Any question on replication? Bucket replication? No? Now you can see the file is available. So you can check, you can upload multiple objects here in your source bucket. Hmm. Hmm. No. So I will show you. Okay. So let me delete all the files in my target bucket. Okay. I'm selecting all the version. I have enabled the radio button. I have selected all the here and just click and delete. So you can see permanent delete. So from my target, I'm deleting everything, right? This is my target bucket. Now this is my source bucket. Okay, this is my target. That public one is my target, and without public, this is my source. Click on update. Click on add. Upload any file. Petrol, and just upload. So now you can see there are 3 files, but only this file will be copied because this replication works when the you create a new object. It will not work on these two previous version always. So any file you are uploading now, it will be replicated to the target bucket. Now you can see it is automatically replicated. Hmm. Yes. Yes, automatically. Mm, mm, mm. Right, 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 right. So if you delete this file, it will not push that. There is no sync between that. It is a push operation. Means in the target bucket, if you're deleting the file, that means it is the data will be not copied from the source again. It is a push. So when you upload the data, it will push the data to the target bucket once. That's it. There is no sync between these two bucket. There is concept called syncing, but right now that's not important. Always remember, the buckets are not in sync. The copy will happen only once. If you delete the data from the target bucket, that's it. You have to take some other action to make two buckets in sync. So replication will only happen single time. Clear? Now you can see there are three files, and if I delete this object, Amazon will not copy the data again. It has performed one time. In my target bucket, if I delete everything, it's blank. That rule is not working. Got it? Yeah, but it will only trigger the replication once. After that, if you delete the object in the target, it doesn't matter. There is no sync between two bucket. No continuous sync in general. There is called continuous sync and one-time sync. Mm, mm. Yeah, now new file. If you upload a new file, it will perform that action. Any new file, one time. Okay, it will take couple of seconds to minutes. Okay, yeah. Size of the file, it submits the request, right? There might be thousands of requests with Amazon. So you yes, this one. Right, agree. So there is a charge for application, no? The so all because Amazon is doing some job for you, there's a charge for that. So after doing, hmm, 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 no. So it is if there is no charge for creating the rule, the charge is for the data which is been copied from one bucket to another. So basically on the action. So how much amount of data you are applicating. So I have told you just for any charges, go to S3 pricing. Just check, right? Replications. So this is the charge. So you can create n number of policies, even lifecycle policy, replication policy, but the amount of data you are moving from one bucket to another, on that basis, the charges is done because Amazon is doing a job for you, right? That's per GB. Yes. So there are many companies, even Zomato and companies are there, which keeps the data in cloud, and they have more than mm, 1 petabyte, 5 petabyte of data. Mm, yeah. Any question on this two things? Okay. Now coming to the final topic, storage gateway. Now what is storage gateway? So we have talked about snowballs, right? What is snowballs and why we are using them? Snowballs were the devices which are used to transfer huge amount of data in and out of Amazon, and it is a one-time activity, right? If you want to transfer huge amount of data in a single go, so in that case we use Snow family, Snow mobile, Snow uh, Snow devices were there, and you can configure them Snow Edge, Snow Cone, and so on. Now, what if you want to transfer the data continuously from on-premise to cloud? You want to transfer the data continuously from on-premise to cloud, and and you want to use S3 as your secondary storage. Okay. Now, what do you mean by that? Now, how many of you know that you can access your Gmail in your from Windows? This is my Windows. This is my complete Gmail, or sorry, Google Drive. Basically, these are the folders in my Google Drive. I can access in my laptop as a drive, as a file system. I can access my Gmail or Google Drive as a file system. Got it? So you have to install a software, that is a Google Drive software, and configure your email ID, and the data will be, your Google Drive will be created, and you can access the file from your local system. So you don't have to go to browser. All this information will be directly accessed from here. So you can directly open the files in your file system. Got it? You can do that thing. Now, if I'm able to create this folder, I can just copy the file and or from in and out from my system. I can copy the data from my personal laptop to here or vice versa. Agree? Because now it is a part of my file system. You getting my point? What I'm trying to say? Okay. Okay. Hmm. Because I don't have to go to the browser to access my drive, Google Drive. Secondly, in your mobile also, you have an app, right? You have an app. You can upload the data in using the app. You don't have to go to the browser again and again. Agree? To access the data in your Google Drive. How many of you are using Google Photos? Everybody is using Google Photos? Yes, no. Google Photos you might be using until unless you are a Apple user. Even Apple has that Photos app in their mobile, right? What it does in general, it uploads the data to the cloud. Agree? What it does in general, that app. So in your device, there is software where what it does, it connects your mobile to cloud, and if you have hundreds of files or photos are there, what it will do, it will keep the recently 100 photos, and it will delete the older photos to save the memory, and a copy of that is available in the cloud. That's how Google Photos or Android Photos, sorry, Apple Photos generally work. करता क्या वो ऐप? सारे की सारी फोटोज क्लाउड से सिंक करके रखता है, क्लाउड में अपलोड करता है। गूगल ड्राइव पे ही है वो, एग्री? या एप्पल क्लाउड पे है? ये सुनो, as soon as you click the photo and if you are in the have the internet on, it will upload that photo to the cloud, agree? आप कर रहे हो क्या? आर यू कॉपिंग द फाइल? No, you have enabled the account, you have logged in already, you have logged in into your account, and it will upload the data to the cloud, right? Let's say you have 100 files. Now you have an option that do you want to preserve all the files in your local system, मीन्स आपके मोबाइल पे सारी फाइल्स रखनी है, बिकॉज एक कॉपी तो क्लाउड में चली गई है. Now you can, what you can do, either you can delete all the local file from your from your mobile to save the mobile memory. मोबाइल की मेमोरी सेव करने के लिए क्या करते हैं? डिलीट द मोबाइल कॉपी सो दैट यू कैन ओनली हैव क्लाउड कॉपी. तो जब भी इंटरनेट का एक्सेस होगा यू कैन एक्सेस दैट फाइल्स. करते हैं ऐसे गूगल फोटोज में? व्हाट इज, यस और नो? किसी को ये चीज समझ नहीं आ रही तो मुझे बताइए. समझ आया मैं क्या कह रहा हूँ? ये करते हो आप? ऐसा कोई है जो ये फीचर यूज नहीं किया या रिलेट नहीं कर पा रहा? So there are couple of options. Delete all the files from your mobile. Delete only files which are older than 1 month. Or you can say don't delete recent file. Recent file आपके मोबाइल में रहती है, बाकी की recently 1 month फाइल आपके मोबाइल में रहती है. File which are older than 1 month will be deleted from your local system and copy is there in the cloud. So let's say आपको 2010 एक साल पुरानी फोटो देखनी है, 2020 की फोटोज देखनी है, सो आपके मोबाइल में नहीं है पर क्लाउड में है. So what will happen? You can scroll down, it will sync to the cloud and it will download that copy in your mobile. You have only 1 month data in your mobile. होता है? या तो कंप्लीट डेटा रख सकते हो या रीसेंट डेटा रख सकते हो, या कुछ भी मत रखो, सारा क्लाउड पे रखो. ऐसे दो तीन ऑप्शन है आपके पास गूगल फोटोज में, यस और नो? सो व्हाट दिस एप्लीकेशन इज डूइंग, एक सॉफ्टवेयर है ना जो आपके मोबाइल में इंस्टॉल किया आपने. गूगल फोटो एक सॉफ्टवेयर ही है ना. सेम थिंग गोज विथ दिस गूगल ड्राइव. यू कैन इंस्टॉल दिस सॉफ्टवेयर, you can install the Google Drive software. आपके पास directly available, you can just search it online. Google Drive. So आप डाउनलोड कर लीजिए इसको. इस सॉफ्टवेयर को डाउनलोड कर लीजिए. Just log into that software. It will create a copy for that for you. Now, what is this basically means? I can access, just like आप फोटो को एक्सेस कर सकते हो, मैं अपने गूगल ड्राइव को एक्सेस कर सकता हूँ. And I can easily move the data from my local laptop to this folder. So if I go to here, I want to copy my this 3 to 4 files, let's say this file, or I will copy all these files, copy, yeah, copy, go to the Google Drive and paste it here. So what will happen? So now you will see it is syncing these files with the cloud. You can see the symbol. Now all these files are uploaded and all are in the cloud. Now I want to download one copy, because if I open this file, first it will go to the cloud, it will download a copy in my local system, and then only it will open the file. then only it will open the file. Just like in photos, लोकल पे कुछ भी नहीं रहता ना, आफ्टर सम टाइम लोकल पे नहीं रहता, तो वो क्या करेगा, पहले वो डाउनलोड करेगा आपकी फोटो, तो तभी आपको दिखाएगा ना। लोड, आप कहते हो ना कोई भी पुरानी फोटो खोलते हो तो वो लोड होती है। लोड होती है मतलब क्या, डाउनलोड हो रही है क्लाउड से, सारी फोटो क्लाउड पे है ना। सो ऑल दिस फाइल्स आर इन क्लाउड। इफ यू क्लिक ऑन राइट क्लिक, शो प्रॉपर्टीज, make a copy, manage offline copy. You can see offline access, available offline. So as soon as you click on the available offline, this file is showing, this file is available offline. So आपको इंटरनेट की जरूरत नहीं है to access this file. एक कॉपी आपके लोकल सिस्टम में बन के रह गई है। समझ आया ये how this works? Yes or no? Okay, simple है। That same concept Amazon is used for S3 as well. Same concept, that is called Amazon Storage Gateway. And why it is used? To continuously access your AWS account S3 bucket from your on-premise system. It can be used to continuously copy the data to S3. So now you can just create a job which will copy the data to that particular folder or drive, or you can access S3 or cloud storage completely from your on-premise as a native file system. Okay, so what is AWS Storage Gateway? So AWS Storage Gateway is a hybrid cloud storage service that connects an on-premise software application access to virtual unlimited cloud. मैंने वही बताया आपको, from your on-premise you can connect to S3 using a software. It provides low latency performance by caching the frequently accessed data on on-premise while storing the data securely and durable in S3 cloud storage service. The service enable you to securely store the data to AWS cloud for scalable and cost effective. Now, why this help you out? Because in your local system there might be chances that you might get out of space. आपके मोबाइल में भी वो होता है कि after certain time your memory is getting full, your storage is getting full. So आप क्या करते हो? You delete the photos which are older than 5 months, 6 months, or 1 year, or, and you keep a copy in the cloud. Simple. Similarly, in your data center, in your on-premise as well, you can do the same thing. There are so much data is present in your on-premise, and you can keep on uploading the data to S3 using this storage gateway. It's a simple software is available. You can download the software in your on-premise system and set up it, set up your account in the software, and it will create a entry point or access point to AWS S3 bucket. Clear? So this is your on-premise system. This is your local system. You can install that application in your local system and you can access the S3 or AWS S3 buckets. Now, AWS Storage Gateway software application is available for download as a virtual machine image that can be installed on your local system. So वो एक वर्चुअल मशीन्स करके कंसेप्ट रहता है, तो वो सॉफ्टवेयर आप डाउनलोड करके इंस्टॉल कर सकते हो अपने लोकल सिस्टम पे. इट सपोर्ट VMware EXE और माइक्रोसॉफ्ट हाइपरवाइजर. ओके, लाइनक्स और विंडोज दोनों सपोर्ट करता है on a very nutshell. Once you install your gateway and associated it with your AWS account, through the activation process, you can use AWS Management Console to create the storage gateway option that is right for you. Now, this is what is different options available. But on a very basic, you can download a software available for you on your on-premise, install it, and configure to access AWS. Okay, to access your AWS resources. In generally, it's S3. Hmm. 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 Yeah, right. N- No, it is the image. It will. Now, what is virtual machine you want to understand? Have you? Okay. Now, virtual machine is basically means you have a machine. Uh, I am going to talk about more of virtual machine in EC2, but let's say this is your OS. This is your OS, and right now you're working on Windows, and you want to install a Linux operating system on top of Windows. So you can create what you can do. You can install a software called virtual machines. Okay, what it will do? It will run a Linux OS as an application, just like Chrome. Chrome is a software. Chrome is a software, right? So it's a software. It's a software. So VMware virtual machine is a kind of software which will be installed on your system, and it will help you to run a different OS altogether on top of existing OS. Not along, on top of as a software, not as a OS, complete OS. Got it? So that's a virtual machines. They are not actual. Hmm, right, VM. Right, right, right. I don't want to go that in detail. Otherwise, people will people will get confused. So it's a software. Simple, simple, simple. I agree. So how EC2 works? Uh, is EC2 generally are the virtual machines. That's why. Yeah. Yes. 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 Okay. It's a software in a very basic say. So you can download through Amazon website and install on your on-premise. You can install the VMwares. It is called VMwares generally, and you can install that image. Here is a image. So Linux image will be provided to you. Okay. Now, after you connect to your AWS account, you have to specify what type of storage gateway you have to implement. There are three flavor of the storage gateway. According to your use case, you can select any one of this. According to your use case, you can select any of this. Okay. For an exam point of view, but you have to understand what is storage gateway. But difference between file, volume, and tape gateway, I'm going to explain you. But even this topic, I didn't find that rarely question for last 5 years. No, but because this is again, this is according to the use cases of the people. Are you want to connect it to your on-premise or not? Okay, but the today which we have learned, replication life cycles are very commonly used services, and they do ask in exam. But this is again, if you want to connect your on-premise to cloud using storage gateway, then only company will adopt that thing. I have seen very less questions, but again, it's a part of your syllabus. Now, it comes in three flavor: file gateway, volume gateway, and tape gateway. Volume gateway again divided into two category: store volume and cache volume. Now coming to the file gateway. What is file gateway? File gateways are stored, the files are stored as an object in your S3 bucket and accessed through a network file system mount point. So what is mount point in general? What is mount point? So you can see in my local system. So whenever you attach a pen drive to your system, whenever you attach a pen drive to your system, what will happen? A access point is created here. Whenever you attach a pen drive or hard disk, a mount point is created or access point is created. So this is called mount point. This is the X or entry point to my pen drive or even this application. This is called mount point. The ownership, permission, timestamp are durably stored in S3 in the user metadata of the object with the files. Once the objects are transferred to S3, they can be managed as a native files bucket policies such as versioning, lifecycle management, cross-region application, everything will be done. So it's a simple file. Just like I'm using a Google Drive, it's simple acting as a file system. That's it. This is called file system. So the first part is AWS file system gateway. File gateway. It's simple. You're making S3 as your native file system. That's it. So you can install this application gateway. Configure is as a an NFS. It's called network file system. So you can access your data over the internet, but acting as a file system. Okay. So again, the files are in object. They are you all the files are in as a object. You can access them through this mount point. Now volume gateway. Now this is important. All the files are stored as a block storage. You can access them as a block storage, not object storage here. Volume gateway is again one of the more people prefer volume gateway over file gateway. File gateway because the objects are they are stored as an object or you can access them as an object. But in volume gateway, you can run your application. You can run app through this mount point. Okay, through this mount point, if you click on directly on these files, they can be opened by through third-party application as well. That is done by volume gateway. So volume gateway interface presents your application with volume disk using block storage. So it acts as a block storage. I told you all the files which you want to access should have a block storage. So वो एक जो virtual environment बनाता है उसमें files as a block storage treat होती है वो सॉफ्टवेयर हैंडल करता है हमको देखने की जरूरत नहीं है. So data returned to these volumes can be asynchronous backup as a point in time snapshot to your volumes and store in the cloud as EBS snapshot. So क्या होता है जो भी डेटा आपके इसके अंदर यहाँ पे पहले कलेक्ट होता है और उसका एक कॉपी यहाँ पे क्लाउड में अपलोड होता रहता है. नाउ आई विल टॉक अबाउट स्नैपशॉट इन EC2 मोर इन डिटेल. ओके. So snapshots are incremental backup that captures only the changes. All the snapshots are stored in a compressed format to minimize the storage. So you can assume that storage virtual disk in the cloud. Storing virtual disk in the cloud. So आपके डेटा का छोटा छोटा पैकेज बन के अपलोड होता रहता है. इनके इसमें दो फ्लेवर में आते हैं. You can just imagine volume gateway just like your mobile photos application. Similar है बिल्कुल. Store volume, it asynchronously बैकअप द डेटा टू क्लाउड. और इसमें आपका दो कॉपी रहता है, कंप्लीट कॉपी रहता है. एक कॉपी मोबाइल में रहता है कंप्लीटली, एक कॉपी क्लाउड में रहता है. दैट्स अ स्टोर वॉल्यूम. सो स्टोर वॉल्यूम लेट यू स्टोर योर ऑन प्रीमाइस data locally as well as asynchronously backing up the data to cloud. So एक कॉपी आपके लोकल पे है, एक कॉपी क्लाउड पे है. Store volume provide your on-premise application with low latency access to entire database while providing durable offset backup. So एक कॉपी आपकी के लोकल में है, पूरा डेटा आपका लोकल पे है, एक कॉपी उसका क्लाउड पे है. सो आपके ऑन प्रीमाइस में डेटा कंप्लीटली अवेलेबल आपके लिए. You can create store volume and mount them as a ISAC device from your on-premise application. Data written to your storage volume is stored on your on-premise hardware. So जो भी डेटा आप इसके अंदर पुश करते हो तो यहाँ पे एक कॉपी रहती है और यहाँ पे भी एक कॉपी रहती है. And data will be asynchronous. What is mean by asynchronous? So there are two type of synchronization, sync and async. Sync means immediately within a seconds. Synchronize means आप उसको बोलो वो 5-10 मिनट में अपलोड करेगा. That is async. So the backups are taken asyncly, and the storage is from 1 GB to 16 terabyte storage बनते हैं. Snapshots बनते हैं. I will talk about snapshot in detail in our EC2 section. Now cache volume similar to storage volume, but here you are just keeping the recently accessed data in your on premise so that you can save the storage in your local system. And let's say you have 1000 files, only 100 files are there in local, and total 1000 files are here, all the files. So recent files you are accessing or keeping in local system, and all the other files you are uploading to cloud. So 900 files plus 100 files. Now if you want to access other file, just click on go to that file and download that file in local system. That is cache volume. So cache will let you use S3 as your primary data storage while retaining the frequently accessed data locally on your gateway. So frequently accessed data रहेगा बस. But just like in your photos, Google Photos, you have only last 30 days photos in your mobile, all are backup to the cloud. Cache volume minimize the need to scale your on-premise storage infrastructure while still providing your application with the low latency access to the frequently accessed file. You can create storage volume up to 32 terabytes in size, and they are ISAC devices from your on-premise to application. So all these things related to how can you connect to your S3 bucket from your on-premise system. Storage gateway store the data in volumes to AWS S3 and return recently data for you. Now final one is tape gateway. Tape gateway is simple. If your on-premise is working on a older version where your data is stored in tapes. Remember analog tapes, कैसेट्स आती थी हमारे पास पहले के ज़माने में. ऑडियो कैसेट्स आती थी. व्हाट इज ऑडियो कैसेट्स? उसमें टेप्स, उसमें डेटा एनालॉग रहता था. किसी ने देखी है? ऑडियो कैसेट्स होते थे ऐसे कुछ. तो इसमें डेटा इसमें डेटा डिजिटल है या एनालॉग है? यहाँ पे ये मैग्नेटिक में व्हाट इज डिजिटल एंड व्हाट इज एनालॉग पता है ना, बाइनरी और वेव्स में. तो यहाँ पे डेटा आपका एनालॉग होता था. नाउ इफ यू वांट टू, right, but the data is stored in analog pattern. Now if you want to connect this cassette to your laptop, what do you want to do? You have to create a converter, analog to digital converter, then only your laptop will be able to understand. Similarly, if your system is older like 20 years back, what will happen? That time the storage was analog storage or tape storage. Now if you want to take a backup to S3, will you take a backup as an analog or you will take a backup as a digital? S3 is a complete storage device. It is digital, right? So you will require a converter, media changer. So even Amazon supports your old version on-premise servers, which might be working on tapes, virtual tape, something like this. So tape gateway, I agree. And if you want to connect to cloud, so you require a media changer. That's why they come up with this tape. So the tape gateway offer a durable, cost-effective solution to ar- archive your data into cloud. The TVL uh, interface let you provide to leverage your existing tape-based backup, tape-based backup application infra to store the data into virtual tape cartridges that you can create on your tape gateway. So basically अगर आपके क्या सिस्टम पुराना है जो cartridges पे वर्क कर रहा है या कैसेट्स पे वर्क कर रहा है टेप्स पे वर्क कर रहा है and you want to copy the data to cloud, that time you are going to use tape gateway. Simple. Each tape gateway is pre-configured with media changer. तो जो भी आप यहाँ पे ये सॉफ्टवेयर इंस्टॉल कर रहे हो उसको कॉन्फ़िगर करना पड़ेगा आपके यूज़ केसेस पे, तो वो मीडिया चेंजर के साथ आता है. And tape drivers which will available to your existing client backup on your devices. You can add tape cartridges as you need to archive your data and support backups different. ठीक है. So in a very simple, ये जो आपका जो वर्चुअल मशीन है या सॉफ्टवेयर है वो ये सब कॉन्फ़िगरेशन से आता है. You just has to configure what type of gateway you want to use. If your machine support uh, tape gateway tapes, then you have to configure this thing with the tape drivers, media changer, and it will support to convert the data into analog to digital, and then you can upload the data, and vice versa. Simple. And backups are there in cloud again. So you are connecting your S3 to your on-premise, that is storage gateway. For exam point of view, just remember there are three type of gateways. First is file gateway. Data is directly stored to S3. Uh, no local copy, completely on cloud. You are accessing them as an object. Volume gateway. There are two type of volume gateway: store and cached. The entire database is stored on premise as well as in cloud. That is volume gateway. Store volume gateway and cache is basically you are only keeping latest files, and completely data is available in cloud. And virtual tape library or tape gateway. That's it about storage. There is no lab in this because you have to download the software, you have to create a setup completely, and it is not required as such for exam. Just go with the theory. So storage gateway, on-premise access to virtual unlimited cloud storage. That's it. You can you can download the software. Okay, so you can see file, share your file. So this is for Linux F access. So if you want to connect your AWS to your Windows server, Windows machine, so you can enable FSX file system. So tape, volume, and hardware. So you can download the software from here. I think there is some link is there. Okay, ordering information activate. So you can activate the thing. Yes, you can see here there are options are available, and yeah, here you can download. Okay, you can download the virtual machine in your laptop software and install it. So for what purpose you are using, why you are using, you have to configure it and then you can download. Okay, it's just very simple, not required as such. It's just to upload the data or download the data from on-premise to cloud, and you can use as a cloud as a secondary storage. That's it. Here we have completed all the topics of S3. Let me go through the summary once. Just give me 1 minute. What we have covered till now in S3. In 5 minutes we'll cover. Yes. Okay. So we have learned a lot about S3. Let's recap. So S3 is object storage, not suitable to install any operating system or run any database on S3. The size can be 0 to 5 terabyte. You can store unlimited of data in S3. The files are stored in buckets. The file name are universal namespace. That means each bucket should be having unique name. And why the bucket name should be unique? Because we are creating the object URL as well as the bucket URLs, and that domain should be unique. So previously the read after write consistency was there, but now in Amazon you can read the data immediately as well as for put, override and delete. So you will get the latest information. Previously, if you are uploading the overriding the existing object or deleting, it will take time to propagate the changes. But now you will get the latest information immediately. Storage classes. Amazon has multiple storage classes. S standard, it is durable, immediately available, use for frequently access data. S3 infrequent access, it is durable, use for immediately available data. Okay, data is immediately available and use cases used for infrequent access data. S3 one zone, infrequent access, same as one zone, same as infrequent access. However, the data will be stored in one availability zone. S3 intelligent tiering automatically moves your data from one most effective tiers depending on how frequently you are accessing the data. Deep glacier instance is basically used for archiving your data, okay, where you can wait for a couple of minutes to hours to retrieve the information. Property of S3 objects, the data is stored as key value pair. Version ID, we have seen metadata, extra information about your data. We have seen bucket policy. We have seen Excel transfer acceleration. Whenever you are uploading the data to S3, it is showing status code as 200. We can enable individual object, we can lock individual object, and if you want to delete that object, you require MFA. You can enable this feature as well on S3 objects. Security, by default, all the new created buckets are private. You can set up access control for your bucket. You can create a bucket policy, and there is again individual level property, object property we talk about, right? Bucket level property and object property. S3 bucket are can be configured to create logs. Which log? Okay, so any activity you are doing in S3, okay, any activity you are doing in S3, you can store that information in another bucket. If you are deleting the file, if you are uploading the file, if you are copying a file, that logs can be captured and keep in another bucket. So we can configure that thing. So you can monitor your bucket. So access logs, it is called access or bucket logs. Encryption in transition, basically if you are moving your data from on-premise to cloud or cloud to on-premise, it should be secure. That is called in transition. Amazon is using HTTPS protocol which comes with SSL and TSL certificate, so that is they are highly secure. Second, data on rest. So whenever you are uploading, you want to encrypt your data. It can be on client side, it can be on server side. Client side basically means you are encrypting your data on your own and then uploading to the cloud. Server side, Amazon is doing encryption for you without any cost. You just have to enable them what type of key you want to use to encrypt the data. The keys will be managed by Amazon. They are called S3 managed keys. Or if you want to create your own key in Amazon, that is SSC KMS, the key management service. You can create your key in Amazon and you can use them. Second is you can create the key at your on premise and provide that key to Amazon to encrypt your data. So all these three, the Amazon will do the encryption, but the ownership of the key matters. That is called SSC. The most popular is this one, where you want Amazon to manage the encryption key. If you want to enforce the use of encryption on your file system stored in S3, use bucket policy for deny any object request that doesn't include X Amazon server side encryption parameter. So if you remember, if we want to enable that every person should upload a file with encryption parameter enable, if you are not passing the encryption parameter, then the request will fail. That is deny policy. You have to create a bucket policy with deny if encryption is not available. CloudFront, 8 location. This is the location where the content is cached. You can cache your data on the CloudFront. 8 location are the physical location around the world where the data will be cached. Origin basically from where all the file systems are kept and the data will be cached from this server to the 8 location. So basically they are S3, Route 53, EC2 machines. Distributions, they are the collection of 8 location. CloudFront, 8 location are not just for reading the data, they are also used for writing the data. They are used in S3 transfer acceleration. Okay, all the cache in CloudFront have a time to live TTL. So after that, the cache will be deleted automatically. You can force delete the cache, but there are charges associated to that. We can improve the performance of our S3. Previously, S3 was having very less read and write quota. Right now, it is 3,500 for writing the data per second, and you can write up to 5,500 files per second. Still, if you want to improve the performance, randomize the prefix of your key of your data. The more you will distribute the key or random keys, it will store the data in different server locally. In Amazon, the data with the same key will be stored in the same server. So this is your key. All the keys having same prefix will be stored in same hardware. So try to distribute your data. That's it all about your S3 in 5 minutes. Any question?